We have the new T20 World Champions. That's right, England have beaten Pakistan by 5 wickets at the MCG to become the T20 champions of the world. That's right, it turned out to be a close match at the end. Asked to bat first, Pakistan put a total of 137 for 8 wickets. And in reply, England winning that by 5 wickets with 6 balls to spare. And as we've said, when England does well, it is one man who does well in big matches, and that is Ben Stokes, yet again scoring a 50 for them in a big World Cup final to take their team home. With that, England now are the 2022 World Champions. That's right, this is huge. Pakistan gave it their all, but 137 for 8, to be able to defend that was always going to be difficult for them. And on top of that, unfortunately, Shaheen Shah Afridi, he got injured and he couldn't bowl his full quota of 4 overs. So here we are with England now the world champions. Ashok Malhotra is here with me to look back on what was a close final, at least till the end, and turned out to be an interesting one, sir. But like I said, when you've scored 137, then even if you have a very good bowling attack like Pakistan, it was always going to be difficult against the best batting in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely so. You know, so that has been the run. 137 is not good enough, especially in a World Cup final. I understand you got a phenomenal bowling attack, but then you have to pick up 2-3 quick wickets in the power play. You did pick up Gale, but Buttler hung around. So even after 6 overs, they were close to 45 for a 3. So that was a kind of they laid a good foundation because they bat very, very deep. And then we know Ben Stokes is meant for bigger stages. The bigger the stage, better he plays. He won the one-day finals with his brilliant batting, and today he did the same in T20 finals as well. You know, single-handedly he blocked one end up and kept scoring runs, scored a 50 and won the game. And all in all, it's a good game, that's all. But as you very rightly said, Shaheen Shah Afridi's those 2 overs might have cost him the game, because those 2 overs were going to be very, very crucial. Because and then that Iftikhar, when he bowled those 5 balls, which he gave 13 runs, which turned the game on its head. Till then, it was even Stevens.
Yeah, we're going to talk specifically about the game, sir, but let's just talk about Jos Buttler and how big a moment is this for him as the captain, captaining the first time in a World Cup, his side. You know, I know that Owen Morgan sort of started this revolution of white ball cricket in England, but Jos Buttler with this now will have taken it, you know, step forward. And in that sense, this is a huge, huge moment for England and for Jos Buttler winning the T20 World Cup. And I mean, they won this last in 2010, which was a while ago. So this is big for them.
Definitely, it's a huge feather in the cap of Jos Buttler. And I would say the entire English team management and ECB as well. You know, the way they kept going, and they have their own methods. You know, they have method in their madness. They went up after the bowling hammer and tongs. Even if they keep losing wicket, they will keep going after them, and it worked for them. You know, they did lose in between some games, but most of the games they won. So all in all, a wonderful moment for Jos Buttler, because the way he led from front, especially in the semi-finals, and the way he won the World Cup for them, which is a huge achievement after 12 years. It's a long time.
And also the kind of innings that he played in the semi-final, as well as the match against New Zealand, which was a must-win match for them, sir. But let's then begin from the very beginning. Pakistan being asked to bat first in those conditions. How impressed were you by England's bowling? And we spoke about this before the match began, that it'll come down to how well these teams do in the power play. But in this case, just the way England started, and more than the power play, sir, it was how they restricted Pakistan to 137. I think in the last 4 overs, Pakistan kept losing wickets and ended up scoring just 18 runs, which really was their undoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think losing Rizwan first up was a problem because Babar could not get going. 32 runs he did score. He almost scored run a ball. So that pushed him back as well. Shan Masood is another one who scored with a strike rate of 100 by 100 strike rate. So they didn't have anybody who could accelerate. So that was the difference. And then I would say the icing of the cake was losing those 4 wickets in the last, scoring only 18 runs in the last 4 overs and losing the game because you lost the way. If you had got 150 plus, it might have pushed England to the break. They might have struggled to get those 150 runs, the kind of bowling they have. And not to forget, Sam Curran has been phenomenal. 4 overs, 12 runs, and 3 wickets, which is phenomenal to say the least. And that was the World Cup finals.
Yeah, and now, one of the leading wicket takers in this tournament, he has come completely sort of changed England's attack, because before coming in, one felt that maybe he was not going to be this big player in the tournament. But this tournament with the ball, when it comes to England, belongs to Sam Curran. And how he's come at every phase of the match, sir, be it in power plays. Today he got the wickets. Then, in the death overs, he's been brilliant, not just taking wickets, but restricting the opposition. He has really been their pick of the bowlers.
He has been, and throughout the World Cup. He's been picking up wickets, he's checking the flow of runs, he's been economical. And I think he's reinvented himself. We saw how he was going for very many when he's playing IPL. He seems to have reinvented himself. He's got a slower ball in his armory, he can bowl a good Yorker, and he sometimes a quick bouncer too. So he's kind of a reinvented bowling. He's not lively, he's not very brisk, but what he lacks with pace, he does it with the variety in his bowl.
Now, let's also talk about one of the key battles that we were discussing before the match began, and that was between Babar Azam and Adil Rashid. And it was surprising the way Pakistanis were finding it difficult to read his googlies. Again, Babar Azam, the way he got out to Adil Rashid, and sir, a wicket maiden in a World Cup final. I mean, that is pure gold dust. Adil Rashid just as important in restricting Pakistan to that low total.
Definitely 4 overs, 22 runs, picking up 2 wickets, and the crucial wicket of Babar Azam. If you were carried on, probably they would have got. Pakistan, I think Adil has been phenomenal to say the least. And the modern day cricketers, they don't look at your hand. They read the googly from the pitch through after the ball lands. Then it is a bit late. So that is exactly what happened. And how well he bowled, how well he was deceptive, to say the least, and he deceived them, the googly, the leg break, and he was maybe too many tricks up his sleeve, which cost Pakistan the game, because his 4 overs turned the tide, because from 6 to 14 overs, he bowled his quota of 4 overs and checked the flow of runs and plus picked up the wickets. And that is what we have been talking about, the edge of the jail. That is why wrist spinners are very handy in the mid overs.
Now let's talk about England's batting. Again, the start for Pakistan couldn't have been better, and this is why Ben Stokes is such an important player, sir. You can say whatever you want to before the tournament began. I know the knives were out. People were saying, what is this? Is Ben Stokes really a T20 player? As a batter, he hasn't been scoring runs, averaging below 20. But in a big match like this, England wouldn't have wanted anybody else but Ben Stokes to take them home, and he did just that.
See, it is like somebody like England must be saying, if our life depends on who should bat for you. It has to be Ben Stokes. They won them the ODI finals against New Zealand with a brilliant batting. He won them a test match from nowhere, a brilliant 100 with so somewhere along the line, he's banned for all season. The tougher, when the going gets tough, Ben Stokes comes. So that is what it is. He's a tough character. And when the pressure is on, it brings out the best in him, like he showed once again today.
Now, we've talked about England's batting and how deep their batting goes. that really now seems to be the new way of taking this format forward, sir. And with now them becoming the champions, do you feel like that's something that other teams will follow? The fact that when Jos Buttler gets out and Harry Brook comes in, he starts with a 4. The intent, you know, the word that gets used around a lot, but you see that in this English side. And why I'm saying this is not just this being a tactical thing, not just this being something that they want to do, because other teams would also want to do it, but because you can afford to be positive as you bat that deep. That's what the formula is, isn't that so, with this English lineup? That even if you keep getting you know, wickets, or if you keep getting out, there are batters coming one after the other to bail you out.
See, you got to have these kind of practice. And I don't know which year it was when they lost to Bangladesh. They changed the entire concept of their cricket. Till then, they were playing proper test cricket, and that is how they were playing even one day at the T20s. And once they lost to Bangladesh, I think they went back to the table, they did a little bit of rethinking, reinvented their concept, and that then came back firing on all guns, which has won them ODI, you know, one day international trophy, and now T20 trophy. So, I mean, they're on the right track, and plus they have got phenomenal players. You know, look at Harry Brooks, has come from nowhere, but he's the one who keeps going. Livingston is batting at number 7. Yeah. So you know, so you can imagine he's a guy who's got 23, 24 ball 100 against Pakistan. So they have got that kind of a character, and plus they keep rotating. They don't have a fixed. Moin will go at 4 or Livingston will go at 5. They keep rotating. You know, horses for courses policy, which Indian teams seem to be lacking. We were too conservative, too rigid in our thinking, and that is, we will have to again go back to the drawing board, do a little bit of rethink and reinvent ourselves, and probably go back on the English way. You know, we followed the English way when we were playing Test cricket. Now even T20 cricket and one-day cricket, probably will have to follow them. And we have a firepower in our younger lot, so that is what it is up to the management. But what England has done, it has hats off to them. The way they are playing the cricket, I understand. Some days they have bad days, and then they look very foolish. But otherwise, most of the time, they end up winning, and how.
I also feel, sir, that they really seem to have done their homework well with all the teams, and somewhere that little jhatka they got after they lost to Ireland, which was tactically a wrong decision, where you could not even figure out what your pass score was, and when you had it in your hands and you let it go, I think that was a wake-up call for them that came at the right time, because from there on they've not made a single mistake. You know, they've done most of the things right in terms of also figuring out, you know, bowling changes, matchups. We talked about this as well against India, and this is something that Jos Buttler himself spoke about after that semi-final, after he was asked, you know, why is it that you decided to get India to bat first? And he says, because Indians normally like to chase, and we didn't want to give them that option. We didn't want to give them that advantage. So he's thinking like that. Then on top of that, even about Adil Rashid and bowling Adil Rashid out so that Rishabh Pant does not come up, you know, as a left-hander and try to take him on. They said he said that was exactly why they bowled Adil Rashid out. Whereas Indians, unlike Jos Buttler, Rohit Sharma did not send Rishabh Pant up the order, and rest is history. We're not going to get into it. But today itself, it was another example of how they'd done their homework in terms of reading the opposition, because some of those bowling changes were spot on. Jos Buttler knew what he was doing till the end. Yes, he took a chance with Chris Jordan, but it seemed to work for them.
Yeah, he captained the side very well. You know, as we talk about thinking on your feet, that is what he does. You know, like Adil Rashid against India, he not only bowled 4 overs of Adil Rashid, he bowled 3 overs of Livingston too. Those 7 overs cost India the game. Those 7 overs, 43 runs cost India the game. So 41 runs, sorry. And as you very rightly said, today also he started with Sam Curran and Chris Stokes. And then if you look at it, he bowled the first over with Ben Stokes.
Yeah.
Because first over, people tend to settle down. They don't go hammer it on. And then he bowled the 7th over when after the power play, then that over also you tend to slow down. So he had his, plans cut out, and he was thinking on his feet. And that is exactly what makes him a great captain. He's a great white ball cricketer. There's no two ways about it. But he's turning out to be a very, very good captain. Although they say nothing succeeds like success, but he's shown it the way and led from the front.
Let's also talk about Pakistan now. Came very close to lifting the title, and they would be disappointed. They also know, and somewhere deep down will feel more disappointed, because they would have felt that if Shaheen Shah Afridi hadn't gotten injured, maybe things would have been different. It is true that match completely turned around when Iftikhar Ahmed came to bowl Shaheen Shah Afridi's over. And that's when Ben Stokes hit him for a 4 and a 6. And the run rate came down, and of course then England won this very easily with 6 balls to spare. But they gave it their all, sir. It turned out to be a final one expects, and Pakistan have to be, credited for the way they played in this final. I mean, I know that they got out for 137 for 8, but in the field gave it their all, tried to defend it as much as they could. It's just that England were better today.
They were. And not Pakistan batting once again let them. They are too dependent on Babar Azam. We kept talking about Iftikhar, we kept talking about Mohammad Harris, we kept talking about Shadab Khan. But all of them played little cameo. But nobody could carry the team. Nobody could do a Ben Stokes for Pakistan. Needed somebody to play 20 overs, maybe a Shan Masood or a Babar Azam. That probably cost them the winning. And in other words, they might be trying to get 160, 170, whereas this wicket was maybe close to 150. Because there's a lot of life in the wicket, there's a lot of movement, the way Pakistani bowler was bowling in the end. So probably they rushed it. Sometimes when you set a target of 160, 170s on these kind of wickets, it's probably a bridge too far.
Yeah. Also talking about Adil Rashid, sir, hasn't had a very good year. I mean, he's been okay, but this has been incredible in the way he's come and played the final. Even in the tournament, I was looking at him and Moeen Ali. They haven't taken wickets. I mean, between they have 2 or 3 wickets throughout the tournament. But this Adil Rashid, in the way he bowled to Pakistan, was phenomenal. We spoke about it, but just a little bit more on the kind of difference that he made in the final.
See, what more can you ask from a cricketer who bowls well in the same finals, who bowls well in the finals? Yeah. He might not be coming to the party before that, but when the real thing comes, he's also another big man. Even in the ODI finals, he bowled magnificently. So he's a guy. He's one guy who Buttler was always good. He was a go-to man for them, and he was rotating between Livingston and Moeen Ali, whichever way. But the fact is, Adil Rashid was his go-to man. He was go-to spinner who can turn things around, who can check the flow of runs and pick up wickets in the middle, which is very, very crucial. That's why wrist spinners are always a necessity in T20 cricket.
England's bowling, the pace attack as well, not just with Sam Curran, who bowled beautifully and got early wickets, and then towards the end, at no point did you feel like they let Pakistan run away with the game. They knew exactly the kind of line and lengths to bowl on that pitch. They knew that, they'll want them to play squarer of the wicket where the boundaries are longer, not go straight. They had it all planned out, sir, and they didn't err in those plans.
They didn't, and not to forget, they didn't miss Marco, who was there the quickest bowler. Whosoever played in his place did his job. Chris Stokes did a wonderful job. Sam Curran did a wonderful job, and other fast bowlers did a good job. But plus, not to forget, they got 2 spinners in Livingston and Adil Rashid, who did a wonderful job. So all in all, wonderful team, and plus they had a lovely all-rounder in Ben Stokes, who can bowl his quota of overs, who can bat magnificently. That all-rounder makes you a team of 12 people, basically. You are 11, but it makes you a team of 12, which can be always a stronger than the other.
Yeah, and on top of that, they had Moeen Ali, Liam Livingstone's another one. They've, it's a team full of all-rounders, which has made such a huge difference for them. So this seems like Jos Buttler, the captain, who is, a phenomenal T20 player. I mean, in that sense also, it has worked well for England because some of the other captains haven't had that good a tournament. In fact, most of the captains in this tournament have struggled and more often than not have been called, not suited for T20s. So when you look at Jos Buttler, this was a perfect job which has ended in a perfect way for Jos Buttler and his team. Here is a phenomenal T20 player who's showing us in those conditions as well, just the way, that scoop shot earlier on that he played before he got out. So, phenomenal Jos Buttler, a T20 player.
See, as I said, he led from front, be it batting, be it wicket keeping, be it captain side. And he was spot on. Every decision he took it was a perfect decision. It fitted to a T, absolutely. And what better than when he takes the fight to the opposition? He got out to Rauf, but till then he's done the job. Is it a 6? Is it a 2-3 boundary? So he is taking the fight to the opposition. He was scoring with a strike rate of 152. So you can imagine. He is taking the fight to the opposition, showing the way to his team. This is how we play the cricket. This is the method. Not talk good cricket and not play good cricket. Like Rohit Sharma says, we play aggressive cricket, but ends up scoring with a strike rate of 100. So that is the difference between Buttler and Rohit Sharma. That is the difference between Team India and Team England. And I think we have to take the model of Team England.
And I think with this now, with them winning the World Cup, knowing that even if England as a team keeps losing wickets, that's the kind of format that one needs in T20s, where you're really not valuing your wicket. You are more concentrated on the strike rate and the number of runs you can score because you have such a long batting. Like, there is no way that you are afraid that you're going to get out for a below par score more often than not. I think that's the way they've gone about it.
See, they are more happy with the impact player. They're not worried about the superstar. They're not worried about who gets a 50 or who doesn't get a 50. They're worried about if you get good 20, 30 runs, quick 20, 30 runs, it can turn the game in their favor. They're happy with somebody like that. So that is what I keep harping, that there are not many superstars in world cricket, except for the team of superstars which Team India has, where we play more for our averages, more for our 50s. And even the entire country only waits for bated breath. Oh, how many runs X guy got? How many? Nobody talks about, did his 50 win you the game? No. Did his 30 win you the game? You're looking for impact players. And that is where we need to change our mindset. Yeah. We need to change our mentality. Yeah. So that is very, very necessary now if we want to survive well in T20.
Also, sir, the other thing being now with this, the other discussion that India probably and some of the other teams would want to have is, like you were saying about how it's, you're looking at impact players, but also say if you are playing as openers or in the top order, if you have taken around, say, 30 deliveries to get to 50, then the pressure on you to finish the game is that much more. And so in that sense, it works much better if you've scored a 20 of, 9 or 8 deliveries and you've moved on because you've given enough deliveries for the batter who's coming in next to score runs at a quick rate.
Yeah, even if you score 30 or 30 balls, they have to start with. Then it is your duty to bat all the.
Yeah.
30 ball 50, then you're doing a good job. But what our team batters 1 to 3 were not doing that. They're getting 30 runs and 30 balls and then getting out and putting the pressure on the middle order batters. That is not all. So somewhere along the line, there has to be some kind of rules defined to them. This is your role. This is how you're going to play, and this is the kind of impact we want you on the team. And if you don't define, if you have this plan A, X guy will open, Y will go number 3. other guy will go number 4. If you have everything fixed, then it is not going to work, because T20 India is like chess. You keep having a different moves every time somebody. You have to keep moving. You have to think on your feet. You can't be so rigid and so conservative in your thinking.
That's also the other thing, that in this English side, there is no anchor. They're all big hitters of the ball. There's nobody who plays the role of an anchor, as with some of the other teams, including India, where Virat Kohli is the anchor of this team. Do we really need an anchor? This will also start that debate in modern T20 eyes. Okay, sir, we'll wrap this up, but congratulations to England. They are, deservedly the winners. So congratulations to the new world champions. Ashok sir, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's it then. After almost a month of absolutely intense action, here we are with the new world champions, England, the 2022 T20 World Champions. That's it from us. News 9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.